you're a longtime SAG member. What's your take, though? How long do you think this strike is going to last?
Well, I hope it lasts less time than I've been a SAG member since 1981. But yeah, the Writers Guild went on strike in May. The actors followed suit in July. And my sources tell me within the studio system that they're willing to wait this out. They're willing to go the distance. And frankly, so are the actors and writers.
Yeah, well, Fran Drescher is union president. I mean, how's she weathering this storm? How's she doing? I mean, is her leadership coming through?
Who would have imagined the nanny would turn out to be such a leader?
She's taking care of everybody.
She is really formidable. She's doing a great job, I think, as far as the actors are concerned. Interestingly, she's up for re-election, so she'd better do a good job. What's noteworthy about this is the last time there was a double strike between actors and writers with the unions was back in 1960 when Ronald Reagan was the SAG president. And look at what happened to Ronald Reagan after his SAG presidency. He went on to the governorship and then, of course, the presidency. So maybe Fran Drescher could follow a similar path.
You've got an upcoming book coming, man. Tell us about it.
Well, you'll appreciate this as New Yorkers because it's a semi-autobiographical novel because I can't remember everything. It was the 80s after all. But I've titled it Dancing Between the Raindrops because that's what my dad used to say to me. He'd say, I don't know how you make it through the day running around the way you run around in New York City. You must be dancing between the raindrops. So the book is a look at the 80s in New York City. If you were here in the 80s and remember all the fabulous things that there were to have, of course, all under the specter of the AIDS crisis, which was going on at the same time. And I've got real life experiences that come through in the book. So you'll have little encounters with Donald Trump, little encounters with Ed Koch, Peter Allen, Liza Minnelli, and even Princess Diana. So there's a lot coming in.
Well, that sounds great.
Later this year. I'll come back and tell you when it's ready.
Come back and tell us all about it.
And I would see him in Central Park with his easel, and he would be painting in the park. And we finally struck up a conversation about that passion that he had for painting. And he invited me up to his home studio, and I did a whole story on his passion for that artistic form. Just a marvelous painter in so many ways. And he would say that he never really worked a day in his life because he was always doing things that he loved, things that were important to him. His love of art was really the consuming passion of his life when he wasn't on stage singing.
How did he, in your words, help keep a genre of music alive?
It's very interesting that you asked that because he would talk a lot about his mother. She raised Tony and his siblings after the father died when Tony was only 10. During the Great Depression, she got paid a penny a dress doing seamstress work, but she said, only give me good dresses to work on. And Tony felt that way about the music, which is why he sang the standards from the Great American Songbook, the classics by Irving Berlin and Cole Porter, these songs that you can't argue with, the really terrific all-American songs, and he kept to that. And even when he was doing duets with modern younger artists like Katie Lang or Harry Connick Jr., he was still doing the classic songs, and he thought that was very important. So he kept those songs alive. You might remember his last public appearance was at Radio City Music Hall with Lady Gaga, and even though he was dealing with the ravages of Alzheimer's, when the music came on, Tony Bennett was still Tony Bennett. Things could be delayed or canceled altogether. It's a wait-and-see game. The actors are digging in for a long one. Anything that even reeks of any kind of promotion for the studios is verboten. So it is a big effect for everyone.
Yeah, I didn't even think of that. So what's next in negotiations? How long do you think this could last?
Yeah, well, I have a feeling it's going to go on for quite a while because the moguls in the studios are willing to wait it out. If the actors are feeling like they're going to be starved out. Their impression is that the concessions the studios are offering are insulting. To have all that history in such a beautiful location is really something. And I should explain to our audience, I was working for an Irish television show at the time. So I was filming all of this as a segment. And you and I, you took me to the point on the land where you would be able to last see Titanic before she disappeared. And, you know, I sort of like waved to my former self from that position. And then we got into a boat and we went out to that same point where Titanic would have last been able to see land. And I was able to wave back to myself. And, it's just one of those extraordinary things for me. And I've had a very exciting career over the decades of globetrotting and celebrity interviewing and experiences. But the Titanic Trail has to be one of my top 10 professional experiences that I've enjoyed over the years.